Hi, I'm John Ruggiero, and this is New Jersey Paranormal. Joining me today is my teammate Chris, and this episode is going to be about haunted objects, specifically objects that you could purchase online through various websites. We actually purchased 4 different items. In this case, they're all dolls from different vendors, different parts of the country with different backstories. They each have their own story about who owned them, the story behind how the person passed, and we decided we were going to try to either validate or disprove whether these objects are indeed haunted or not. So we did an investigation first using the scientific methods and to see if we could gather evidence on any of these objects.
And we did get some.
We did get quite a few clips that we're going to share with you to kind of validate a few of the stories that surround these objects. The first object we're going to start with is what I call the burnt angel. This object, patriotic doll, plush doll.
Bicentennial-like looking doll.
Burned around the face, around the wings, around the legs. I got a bad vibe when this thing was delivered to my house. We set this object up first, and the very first clip here that we're going to show you, I actually talk about the story, about what the backstory is. The backstory is the doll belonged to a girl named Olive, 6 years old. She died in a fire. The father kept the doll, had it for years, started having bad dreams, became an alcoholic, and eventually sold the doll. So that's the backstory. So we mention that and see if we can get confirmation if it's true or not. And that's our first clip. Supposedly belonged to a 9-year-old girl who died in the fire. Okay. So that object that we just saw is a static detector. The way that works is, theory is that spirits are either electromagnetic field energy or static energy when they enter a room. I was talking about the story, and right next to the doll, the static detector went off as if to confirm the story.
Well, it's funny because in the next clip, we were actually setting up to do an EVP session with the same doll, I believe.
Angel doll.
And something happens behind us that we're totally aware of when we go back and we do review, and then there's a comment in the background we're totally unaware of on this clip.
And what's bizarre about that clip is that I do believe that I hear a very ghost hunt, and that metallic robotic voice. There's only 2 objects that we have that make that sound. It's the Ovilus and excuse me, the Paranormal Puck.
Yeah, those are the only ones. We didn't have any of those on.
Either one of those devices weren't on, and that voice was
and we didn't hear it live.
Clear. And we didn't hear it live.
We didn't hear it live at all.
Very strange. The third clip here involves the clown. Now, the clown, another one of those creepy factors. Clowns are creepy in general. The backstory behind the clown is that the person who was selling it bought it from an estate sale. Didn't really have a backstory, didn't have any kind of vibe or feeling about who owned it, how they died. But supposedly the clown gives off EVPs. You could hear voices from the clown, and supposedly the previous owner would leave it in one place at night and it would appear in another. So I was a little leery of this clown from the beginning. So in this first clip here, this is something that we didn't hear live, but the cameras are running, they're filming the clown, and we did capture a voice. Let's play that clip. Very faint, this clip. Most EVPs are whisper, electronic voice phenomenon. This is a very faint whisper. Again, we were talking in the background. Don't really know what we were talking about.
We were doing setup. We were talking back and forth about setup and stuff.
Right. But I put the headphones on and I hear that again pretty clear.
Got it, because it was a whisper that came through. The funny thing about that is, at the same time, right after that, you and I were doing setup. I think you were actually working on doing your Connect thing in the background, and we were going back and forth, and you would ask me a question, and then you turn to me and go, "Did you hear that? Did you hear?" And I respond, and then in the background, you see the static equipment that you have back there reacts. And we heard a voice
that we both commented on.
We didn't capture it on camera, but something reacts to that voice on this clip.
See something?
No, but I heard a
Did you
voice.
whisper?
No, I heard a voice though.
You said you need the power, and I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That wasn't me.
Again, what's funny about that is that the previous clip showed that the voice was captured, and then you and I hear another voice, only the recorder didn't capture it. We're talking about the voice that we heard live, and that clown
It reacts to it.
sends out that energy or whatever it did to confirm that, hey, what I think was, it was saying, yeah, you heard me.
Yeah.
So that was pretty creepy. The next clip here, I'm actually explaining to the clown, to the object, a K2 meter actually measures energy, electromagnetic fields. It's short range, and that building, again, EMF field is pretty steady, so if anything were to come near that detector, it would light up like a rainbow. I'm actually explaining this to the clown, saying, hey, if you want to prove to you that you're here, you want to emit some energy from that object, it'll light up like a rainbow, and sure enough, the clown reacts.
It does. Yeah.
On these pillars all around you, these things that are lighting up around you, you can manipulate them just by touching them or pushing your energy out, and they're going to light up different colors like a rainbow.
That K2's going on. Well, it's funny too because right after this clip, we'd actually had taken and switched over to the Echovox, and you started punching in where you were doing questions, and you actually ask a question, and you actually get a response back through the Echovox that was actually really funny, and we react to it on this clip.
I ask you questions. This one works a little different. I type the question. Are you here with us? So talking. Talking to yourself. That's what it just said. Talking to yourself.
The thing about that clip, the device we were using is called the Paranormal Puck, and it's this little object you put on the floor, and it measures energy, measures temperature, and just like the Ovilus, there's a vocabulary programmed into the device, and it said, as I'm talking to it, that I was talking to myself, again, kind of mocking me. And not only that, the K2 meter reacts at the end of that just to show that, hey, you're interacting with me. So I thought that was a pretty funny clip.
On next one, we actually had the music doll up. And on this one, John is actually saying what his name is, and in the background, right behind him, you'll see the static meter going off in this clip.
Could you? My name is John. You could talk to me if you like. Could you say my name again? My name is John. Look. There you go. Good. I said my name. My name is John. I'm happy to talk with you.
So that object there is is the one doll. The backstory behind that particular doll was another fire story. The owner of that doll, supposedly, according to the seller, was asleep in their apartment. One of their neighbors fell asleep with a cigarette in their hand and caused a fire, and that person died in the fire. So, again, it was, direct interaction between an object that may or may not be related to the backstory. This next clip here is a strange one because the object we're using is similar to the Paranormal Puck. It's an Ovilus. It's a small black box, 2,000 words programmed into it. Again, supposedly the spirits can manipulate the energy and the temperature to pick out the word in the box that they want to say. So we take all of the dolls, put them together on a chair. This is the first time ever in years that box has said my name. Not only did it say my name, it also said Johnny thought burning, as if to relate.
And we were talking about burning right before the two dolls that were in a fire.
So very creepy clip. Let's show that clip.
Johnny.
Whoa!
Did it just say your name?
Johnny thought, holy shoot. That thing's never said Johnny before. Known. Burning. Oh, man. The thing about that clip is we're using the Ovilus, which has 2,000 words programmed into it. And the theory is that spirits can manipulate the energy to pick a certain word. And most times it picks one word.
Yeah.
That was my name, creepy as heck, thought, and then burning. I mean, that was, again, for 3 random words to relate to...
And it wasn't just the fact that it was random. We were having a discussion about the burning dolls right before we went into that.
And the backstories and how they related to that was just, again, bizarre, unexplainable. So what we're going to do now is we're going to invite our special guest, psychic medium Jane Doherty. Again, the backstory behind all these dolls is that there's an attachment, and we were able to do our investigation to try to capture proof of that. Now we're going to have psychic medium Jane Doherty come in, join us on set. She's going to handle each of the dolls one at a time, and she's going to give us her impressions of
if they're haunted, if they're not,
who's
what's attached
to them.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back with psychic medium Jane Doherty.
Hi, my name is John Zaffis from Haunted Collector, and you're watching New Jersey Paranormal.
Okay, we're back. Joining us now is psychic medium Jane Doherty. Thanks for joining us, Jane.
Happy to be here.
What I'm going to do now, Jane, is I'm going to pick up one doll at a time, and I want you to handle them and give whatever impressions that you get of the dolls. Okay, we'll start with the dreaded clown doll.
Okay. Okay, I feel that I'm getting a lot of chills with this doll as I hold it. So I'm getting a reaction, a physical reaction, which tells me this is definitely haunted. I feel that a man is attached to this and not a child, because it feels like it's an adult in the way I'm feeling the energy. I think that the person had it displayed. I think they had an entire collection of clown dolls.
A man with clown dolls, oh, that doesn't...
Well, it could be...
sound too good, does it?
Could be a husband and wife.
Right.
And it's the man that I'm feeling around it, but it could have been a collection of both a husband and wife. And I feel that it's possible that this was given to the wife as a gift.
Okay.
And so that's why it had some special meaning to him.
I mean, good guy, bad guy, do you get any impression of what kind of attachment is?
I think he was a jokester.
Okay.
I get that in a personality, and it's a jokester. Like to play around, like to kid. I wouldn't be surprised if where it was that they would find it in different areas, perhaps moved, because he is a jokester. So there's a lot of activity around the doll.
Nothing bad, though?
Nothing bad. Okay. I don't feel anything bad.
So more like a prankster.
Yes, more like a prankster. I think he's attached to it because it's a gift that he gave to his wife.
Okay.
So that means something to him. And I think he died in the house. And for some reason, this makes him happy.
Okay.
The doll makes him happy. So that's what he's trying to hold on to.
Okay.
Is the memory of the happiness he had with his wife. And the clown is that to him. So when he moves it, he's just playing.
Okay.
He's just being a prankster and nothing more. Wouldn't harm you. You could have it in your bedroom. It would be fine.
Okay. So
if you want to take that risk.
Yes.
Clown doll. The next doll we're going to have here is, again, these were all ordered off of the internet. This one has a backstory like all the others. Let's see, what's your impression of that one there?
It's a little creepy. That's for sure. This feels like it could be more of a modern doll. Oh, I don't know what. modern, maybe in the 70s, 60s, 70s, maybe even earlier. I mean, later.
Right.
In the 80s. I don't feel any kind of a physical reaction to it, so this may not be haunted. There may be nothing to this doll.
So it's just a doll?
Yes, it's just a doll. I don't feel, I'm looking into its eyes and I'm not getting any kind of reaction. So I feel that this is more modern, and I don't feel anything attached to it. Whatever they said, how it was haunted, I think it's just a story.
Okay. Next on the list, this doll here. When I got it in the mail, you know, again, you could tell obviously it's been burned, set on fire or something. What impressions do you get off of that one there? I call that one the burnt angel.
Rather interesting. Well, definitely there had to be someone who died in a fire that is around this doll, and the doll was probably retrieved from that fire, or person was clutching it in some way. I find it curious that it has, I don't know, sort of a patriotic type of
right.
outfit
like
to
bicentennial?
it.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. So I think that this was used as protection for the person. They felt a bit of protection having this doll. So I think that they grabbed for it, and I think it belongs to a child. And I feel that she died in the fire, but she died with this, holding this.
Okay.
And they may have come in and saved her in a sense, but then she later died, and this was her doll.
Now, she's not attached. Is she attached to it, or some bit of her energy? How does that
Well, when
work?
it's haunted, when you have an actual spirit,
right.
then it's attached to
really?
it. It
Okay.
becomes just like an antique.
extension? Oh.
Yeah, like an antique. You could have spirits stay around things because they don't want to give that up. That's something very precious to them, have meaning. So they try to relive their memory, and they'll stay around it.
Okay.
So there's a deep connection.
Deep connection, absolutely. And it obviously it feels, a protection. And this doll may have,
Right.
in some way protected the person.
Wow.
So it has a lot to it. I actually feel that the house also had a person in it who was a soldier.
Okay. So maybe.
I definitely feel something with military
Right.
around it as a family member.
Okay.
Was in the military.
Now, do you get any feelings from the doll itself, like sadness, missing, something along those lines?
Sadness.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm having physical reaction.
Yeah.
So it's hard to sit because I'm feeling. So when I'm saying sadness, I'm getting a confirmation
Right.
that that's what the spirit is trying to tell me, that it's sad.
But you do get the emotions of
Yeah.
whatever the
Oh
attachment is.
yeah. Okay, definitely sad. They lost a lot of people in this fire. It looks like to me as though it was more than one house, it was a house, more than one house. It feels like it was a whole little village,
Okay.
or a town, a street, something
Right.
like that, because there's a lot of sadness around it.
Okay.
So not just for the doll and the child, but the sadness of this fire and how many people died.
Okay.
Is what I'm
That's
reacting
really
to.
interesting. This is the one that I kind of got the vibes from initially. The last one, again, backstory attached to it. This one, again, I bought online. I think this one was from Kansas, I think. What are your initial impressions of that one?
Okay, I'm physically reacting to this one also, so I know it's haunted, definitely. Oh wow, I look into her eyes, and to me, they're actually moving.
That's what I was saying.
So I would say the
before.
spirit is actually inhabiting the doll in
Okay.
some way.
Wow.
Because I'm getting goosebumps, because as I try to look into her eyes, they are moving back and forth. It almost looks as though the pupils are getting bigger and smaller.
Huh.
So oh my gosh, there's definitely a difference in the pupils. So this is definitely has activity around it. Again, this is a collector's doll, is the way it looks like to me. The person who had it had...
She's a music doll. That's what she just did.
Yeah.
She played music.
Oh, wow. So to me, it's a collector's.
Right.
So if it's a music box, but I didn't touch the music box. That's interesting. And I think where you got it from somebody in Kansas, to me it looks like it could be from that area in the
Right.
Midwest.
Any idea what happened? The circumstances surrounding the owner, or anything that may have happened?
I actually feel that it was just illness, like in bed, like cancer or something like that, something that somebody is dying from. I don't feel that it was sudden.
Right.
I feel like it had to do with an illness, and I feel this is a woman. And
any emotions attached to that one, as far as you could tell, or would you say that's the most active out of?
Yeah, okay, yes, okay. I'm physically reacting, so when you ask me a question and I'm reacting,
Right.
I'm getting a yes with it. So it's a form of communication. I'd say it was the woman. Emotion, I don't think I get sadness.
Okay.
I get more of happiness with it. This doll gave her a lot of pleasure.
Okay.
And it may have been that she got it for her daughter.
Yeah, the kids play music.
And that's why it's important. The daughter also and the mother
Okay.
are around it. But the eyes, this doll would, if I had him in the bedroom and I would wake up and look at it, I think it would freak me out. Because I really
The eyes.
can see
like that
these
picture
eyes move.
when you have a picture with the eyes
Yes.
in your room, and the eyes kind of
Yes.
follow you, type of
And I
thing.
think this is porcelain.
Yeah.
So you think it was like somebody's like valued
Yes,
possession?
it was a valuable possession, definitely valuable. It was, like a designer doll, that type of a thing, but it's definitely
Meant
something
Okay,
that
that's-
meant something, and I feel that it is Midwest.
That's interesting that you did get something off of most of them, because again, you buy these items and they're listed as quote unquote haunted,
But how
and
do you know?
you do wonder.
Yeah, how do you know if they're haunted or if it's stick?
if it's just a story.
Right,
But
right.
Again, part of this, what we're doing here, is to try to prove or disprove that is it possible to buy even haunted items online. But thank you for joining us, Jane. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate you coming. Somebody's going to take those dolls home, and it's not going to be me.
Oh, yeah. You got to take them home. Let them have some freedom in your house.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll come alive for you.
I'm sure they will. So that was really cool that Jane was able to kind of corroborate a lot of what we experienced doing our investigation, and even tie into what the backstory was with a lot of these dolls. I mean, the whole purpose of this was that these people are selling these items. They're listed them as haunted. Are they really haunted? Is there something attached to them?
Or is it a gimmick?
Or were they bought at a garage sale for $5?
Yeah.
Someone listed them as haunted, and they charge $50 per doll, because they're not cheap to buy these haunted objects. So we decided to go in using the scientific method with our gadgets, see if we could find any proof of an attachment, and then back that up with a psychic medium who can sense spirits, see spirits, communicate with spirits, and get her impressions off of these dolls, and to see if does any of that match the backstory. Is there anything attached to them? And I think the angel doll here was the one that I definitely felt the most creepy around. You remember when I drove home from the first night of filming with this doll, I was actually in my car, and I felt like I was someone who smokes. I don't smoke, and took a mouthful of smoke.
We were talking on the phone, and you kept coughing.
I coughed the whole entire ride home, and I was drinking a lot of water when I got home. Like now, I'm handling it, and I'm coughing, and my voice was really hoarse. So this one, definitely, Jane picked up on a young girl, died in a fire.
And she was very attached to it.
That was the story. Olive, 6-year-old, Jane said 9 years old, died in a fire, supposedly owned this doll. This one here, nothing at all.
We got nothing.
Nothing. There's not one clip that we showed. None of the meters reacted to this.
Great backstory.
The backstory was an exotic dancer who was killed by a customer. Again, not a cheap doll. When I purchased this online, we got nothing. Jane got nothing. This may be a case of all in the advertisement to spend some money. This one here, again, I got the same vibe that Jane was getting. Look at those eyes.
There's something about the eyes.
Those eyes, they look through you, and they're creepy. And the fact that it's a music doll, when we did the investigation, one of the clips that we didn't show was it just started playing music on its own for no reason.
And while Jane was handling it,
it started playing music again. The story behind this one is similar to the angel doll. The girl, a neighbor, was smoking in her bed, fell asleep with a cigarette. The person died who owned this doll. Like Jane said, maybe part of the collection, maybe this was something that she really cared about. And again, the energy is now attached to this. So again, So she
actually said not just the energy, but she thinks that the spirit is in that doll.
Right. This one here, the tricky clown, mischievous clown. Jane said trickster, likes to do weird things. Look at the clips that we captured. I mean, playing with our instruments, telling me I was talking to myself. I mean, this doll here, besides for the angel, was the one that really creeped me out the most. So, all in all, I would say that for our experience in this experiment,
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 seem to be quote-unquote haunted or have attachments. So if you're buying these objects online, beware, because they could have something attached to them. Know what you're getting into, but there is also...
And we were lucky none of these had anything bad attached to it.
That too, no bad attachments, but there's also a chance that you're going to get ripped off and pay $50 for nothing. So if you go into this, be mindful of the fact that you could be, in fact, buying a haunted object. So thank you for watching this episode of New Jersey Paranormal. We'll see you next time.